All right, welcome back to you on STV. At this time, we'll talk about MMM and then what, of course, that means for Nigeria and Nigerians who have enrolled. The figure puts at 3.3 million Nigerians who had accounts with the MMM before that announcement, which we wait to see if it will come back. Like they said, the scheme will be back January 13 is the date has been put out for the resurgence of that scheme. We hope that happens all the well and good for the Nigerians who their monies have been tied into the scheme. But then let's interact with Idowu Akinde, who is an ICT consultant, and just look around such a scheme and how it works and generally how we can begin to draw the lessons that are relevant in such matters.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
All right, thank you.
Now, MMM, it came with a big bang, I must say. We heard about it. Knowing the problems that Nigerians are facing now in the recession seemed very attractive. But this is not the first time Ponzi schemes like this are hitting Nigeria. They've been there in the past. What do you think makes these schemes tick and makes them attractive to people? Even though there's an extra money on the side, you make about 30%. Why is it so attractive that you ignore everything else and then you go for it without doing a proper check?
Okay. There are a few unique attributes about the MMM Ponzi scheme. Let's establish that it's a Ponzi scheme like many others.
Yes.
Okay, but there are a few things that make it unique. One is that CNN described it recently, about a few days ago, as one of the largest Ponzi schemes of all time. Okay, not this year, of all time. You know, that's one. Secondly, if you look at the local environment, and I find it a bit interesting that this didn't happen in Singapore or in any of the countries where the economies are healthy. Okay, there are a few local factors that I think the organizers may have wanted to take advantage of. Okay, one, the present economic recession. Okay, we've seen a lot of reports recently that show how over the past 12 months, Nigerians, the average earning power of the average Nigerian right now is about half. Some people say 1/3 of what it was this time last year, okay? In terms of if you're still earning the same salary, what it can buy in the market, that's one. So there's financial pressure on people to obtain money from whatever source. Second, MMM poses not like the average, not like the previous Ponzi schemes that look like legitimate businesses. MMM calls itself a charity. It says you are giving help and you are receiving help, getting help and providing help. So it looks like a social benefit program. It looks like a welfare program. However, there are hidden elements which we'll get to talk about that I have this principle of for analyzing it, and this is how I arrived at my decision, my no decision. I asked myself, I'm going to follow the money. Okay, I'm going to look at where is the money. People say there's no central account that monies are being paid into, but uplines earn 3% to 5% on their direct downlines, and every descendant, no matter the number of generations of that downline. Okay, so there are certain people, aka the guiders, who are benefiting from this system. We'll come back to that. You know, so those are two reasons. One, the prevalent economic recession. Two, the fact that it's presented like a charity. Another reason is the fact that it's in Nigeria. The average Nigerian is not very intellectually sophisticated. We get once someone can create a layer over something, they can easily fool us. Okay, let me just put it like
Let me
that.
step. Let's look ahead, because for the bulk of the people who enrolled in that scheme is of course for the obvious reasons that you mentioned. But then this was, yes, it was, the information was there. People were doing MMM and all that. Not until Christian Amanpour took on it on her program and talked about how that was helping Nigerians to get out of the recession. Now let's come back to what it is that we would have done, i.e. the government. There were those who called on the EFCC, you know, to investigate the matter and then ensure and try and warn Nigerians. I mean, it got the attention of the CBN, indeed the authorities of Nigeria. What do you think should have been the handling of the scheme, at least from the government level?
Okay, this is my opinion. This is not a legal position. Okay, so I think that the government should probably have been harder. Okay, and I said that this is my opinion because I am not privy to further facts, to deep facts. They may have been. I want to believe that the government would not have been entirely careless if it was.
They were careless. Sorry. Because
I want to believe
warnings.
they wouldn't have been.
Okay.
I know that the government issued out warnings and specifically warned that people should not, I think I read something somewhere about someone giving a directive that the promoters should be arrested, But I'm saying if those things didn't happen, perhaps because there were legal implications, many times there may be legal things that are protecting these things. The other part to your question is if you research into the MMM movement, quote unquote, in Nigeria, there's no business entity. There's no MMM Nigeria Limited, the directors of which you would then arrest. So technically, what crime, quote unquote, have they committed? It may just be a case of person A has convinced person B to take the following actions, and person B took it out of his own, quote unquote, lack of judgment or lack of knowledge.
If we compare the schemes, MMM and other Ponzi schemes, how they operate around the world,
okay.
What would you say would be the basis of paying out that much after a period of time? You talked about the fact that they say now it's a charity, it's a charitable thing, but what is this money invested in? Where does the money go that at a certain time you get a certain amount? In MMM, 30% after probably a month or a few months.
Okay. Your question is one of the questions I ask myself, and it's a question that I would like to put. Well, it may be too late. Maybe it's too late. Maybe it's not too late. We'll know on January 14th or 15th. Okay. But your question is one of those questions that I've been asking since this thing came up.
If you compare all the schemes around the world, and investigations that have come out of these Ponzi schemes, where essentially is it real estate, is it shares?
That's the thing. The thing is, there's a variety of origin stories around the popular Ponzi schemes. The name Ponzi itself is the name of the first really widespread scheme of such nature in the United States, sometime in the 1920s. Some of them start out as legitimate businesses. Maybe they run out of cash and then use that existing brand name to promote something like this. Some of them start out with some kind of product, but build in an unsustainable pyramid multi-level marketing model on top of it. So there are a few that have come like that in the past. Some of them, so there's a variety of methods by which they operate. But the key thing among them is that there are two characteristics that distinguish them. One is the promise of fantastic returns. And like the saying goes, if it sounds too good to be true, most likely it's too good to be true. So that's the promise of fantastic returns and the absence of an asset to sell underlying the whole thing. So in this case, MMM promises participants 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that if you bring X amount of money today, you will get X plus 30% in 30 days. It therefore begs the question. Number one, what is the assets? Is it, by assets you mean, right now we're in a studio, okay? The assets are obvious. 1, the brand. 2, the followership. 3, the building itself. 4, the equipment, the broadcasting. Those are assets. What are the products and services that this company sells? Advertising, shows, events, and so on and so forth. So what are the assets that MMM has? Nobody can answer. What are the products and services that MMM sells? Nobody can answer. So I can only use my own personal experience. Now, I've spoken with a few quite literate people whom I respect, but whom have participated in MMM, okay? So many times when I'm talking to other people, I deliberately do not mention their names, of course. I just say that I know someone who, is doing it for social reasons. So like I said earlier, there are serious economic conditions. You and I may be looking good on TV here, but there are serious economic conditions
We do know that.
There are serious economic
We do know
conditions
All right.
really out there. you know.
Let's look at the lessons that we
Okay.
can draw from this, because this is not a pleasant story at all. But
Yeah.
as at this morning, there was a headline to report that, a headline about one of the MMM investors who
Okay.
slumped and died in a bank. I mean, that's just
Really?
one recorded case. As at this morning, one of the
Wow.
dailies had that as a headline. But let's look at the effect. There are those who we've heard stories about those who invested their life savings
Okay.
into this. But let's look at the figure of over 3 million Nigerians who the scheme has affected. There are those who are still optimistic, oh, you'll be back. They said January, you'll be back and all that. It's for the system not to break down. They believe the entire story, hook, line and sinker. But then going forward, we're trying to look at just how we can better manage such situations in the future on the part of the government precisely, and then the people of Nigeria as well.
Okay.
What do you think we can do?
Okay. I thought of a few points as like points of advice going forward, and I think to the average Nigerian, I'd like to say that we cannot escape thinking things through. This culture of doing things because people are doing it, or because, I'm sorry to say, a pastor somewhere or an imam somewhere said it's okay to do it, is not right. I think Nigerians need to get to the point, the average Nigerian needs to get to the point where we evaluate the decision to go ahead, with certain actions based on their merits, So if this talks about education, if this talks about orientation from the churches, I don't know how it's going to happen. But the average Nigerian needs to take a more suspicious approach, to just what anybody says. That's on the people's side. On the government side, I think, of course, in a democratic society, you don't want to communicate being too dictatorial or too draconian or too, clamping down on everything. However, there is some value to be extracted from taking decisive actions and showing positive body language towards schemes like this, programs like this. So I think going forward, the Nigerian government should take a decisive action.
I mean, because I asked this question,
know.
I'm sorry, because the government had
Yeah.
warned, not just, did they warn, even the CBN, they had declared this as illegal.
Yeah.
Now, what was expected, even to the point that the EFCC should investigate and come up with, just something more concrete that Nigerians can hold on to. But then why that then happened to the point of conviction to Nigerians that this wasn't what they should go into. By the way, on one hand, the question I wanted to ask really is, as an IT professional, look at the reason that was cited for the shutting down of the scheme for a month. They said it's based on workload, heavy workload on the system. How tenable is this excuse?
Okay. Thank you for that word. It's an excuse. Okay. It's like from the very beginning, everything that was sold to people has been a sales pitch. Okay. And this latest reason for suspending the system, as far as I'm concerned, my personal opinion, is again an excuse. I think that, first of all, the basic premise of a Ponzi scheme is that you pay old members from what you get from new members. That implies that there will be a never-ending supply of new members. The human population on the planet Earth right now is not unending. It's not never-ending. Even if you are a very successful Ponzi scheme and you run across all countries, you get to a point where there's nobody to join your scheme anymore as the best case scenario. So there will naturally be a point where even if MMM were not shut down in December, maybe June next year, maybe they are lucky they are one of the very best in the world. They managed to survive until 2019.
So there's never been any successful Ponzi scheme. Because I really
The average
feel
lifespan is 1 year,
about-
it's 12 months.
I really
That's the
feel
average
bad
lifespan.
about this because we've been knocking the scheme. Some people have benefited from it. In an attempt to be more objective,
Yeah.
you are trying to say that there's been no Ponzi scheme. After 1 year that has turned around the business, then we now see something legitimate that people could benefit from in the whole world.
the very structure makes it impossible to do such. A business is structured around one, capital, both cash capital and physical capital, assets, what you call assets. A business, sometimes converts cash into other assets, so they can do things, they can offer products and services. The MMM collects money from, or Ponzi schemes, in general, collects money from persons ABC and gives it to persons DEF. There's no business structure. Nobody is waking up in the morning thinking about how to sell to customers. They're thinking about how to get.
And they can't do it later after 1 year.
Well, where's the money going to come from? There's really no money in the system.
So now, while we are waiting for January, while we're waiting for January for something to turn around in January, for MMM to start again in January, what are we going to tell the millions of Nigerians who have put their money on this scheme? Because I remember I'm sitting down at my gym and somebody's telling me, oh, you put in so much and you get so much. I said, Mbano, I can't do this.
You know what, Vicky? Just like the conversation that we're having, earlier about just how this sold out to many Nigerians on what the profit is, on how just lucrative this scheme is. As we speak, there are those with that shared sense of optimism that this. I'm sorry, not to make light of the situation, that this would still come back. So, but he said, it's not possible, professional. Excuse me, to have.
My hand goes out to everybody who was.
Oh my God! Go ahead. You talked about how it's not possible to have, this scheme come back.
But for as many people that have put their money down, right? For as many people that put their money down and are not making money, or who have made money, right? Our hearts go out to them. Is there any way? What's the advice we can give these people? Some have benefited because if you've done it the first time and you made some money, and then you do it the second time you made some money, and you put some more money, and then you're hoping for the returns and it crashes. What kind of succor can we give these people? I mean, it's something that we need to find out. And what if it does? What if January comes and something good comes out of it?
I think it's time for tough love. Okay.
Tough love.
Yeah, I think it's time to not be a nice doctor, but to be a doctor. I think it's time to tell people the truth. All the characteristics, and anybody can do this. Anybody who can go to Yahoo or who can go to who can go to Google can do a web search and search for characteristics of Ponzi schemes. MMM fits all of them.
You know what? Let's always reiterate. Just go ahead again and reel out because as we speak, after this there will be another scheme. I'm sorry, it's always
there will be
endless.
In another 1 year. There will be another one.
Reel out what we should look out for, Vicky.
The interesting thing about MMM is that it's Russian, right? Yeah. The guy was able to turn his life around and start working in the government.
But immediately after that term, he was jailed.
Yeah, because he had immunity. They gave him immunity at that time. They gave him immunity until he left office.
Okay, go over the characteristics again.
So for me, there's no point. Like I said, we will know for sure on January 15th. Okay, what exactly has happened? Whether it has crashed, or whether it's a temporary.
Okay, I want to know that's just what people should look out for because it's like we said.
Yeah.
Another scheme. It's endless. I mean, we have heard about so many of them. This is MMM. It could be just something that looks as good or even better than MMM coming up anytime soon. So what should people really look out for?
Okay. It's one of two things. Either on January 14th, the scheme comes back and people are able to continue giving and providing help. If that happens, people should remain aware that even if it comes back on January 14th or 15th, the DNA of the MMM structure has not changed. If on January 15th it does not have an asset, if on January 15th it does not have products and services to sell, then it is not a legitimate business and it should not be collecting. It should not, so that's that.
If people lose so much money, I know you're not a lawyer, but legally, how can they pursue this?
Honestly,
The way it's been handled in other parts of the world, how do you think this would go? It would be the Ponzi scheme once again successful in Nigeria?
honestly, I don't think there's. We should probably get professional opinion from a lawyer, but I don't think there's anything anyone.
Because world over, there have been no convictions. They're low. Convictions are
They're
low.
very low.
They're very low.
You know, so
All right.
that's it's not nice to tell anyone this, but it's the truth. You know, that's what it is.
Okay, we'll just hope for the best and hope that those who have enrolled in this scheme, but then share sense of optimism on the part of some of them who believe that this hasn't ended.
We don't want
This
to
would
ruin
come back. But
anybody's
then again,
Christmas.
just to say yes, so much has gone. It's painful. It's really sad because there are those who it's not funny what we are talking about, whose life savings
have put their rent money,
really
some people have
it's
put
not
school fees,
a pleasant
children's
story.
school
In millions.
And some
I
people have
mean,
even
in
borrowed
millions.
money.
Yeah. So let's hope that, of course, we learn the relevant lessons and also stay on the side of hope and just trust that for some reason this will come up and they'll recoup their money back by that January. Hopefully. Never can tell. Okay.
But that would be a miracle.
That would be. Miracles do happen.
Of course.
Okay.
This is not the first time something like this is happening in Nigeria. So I think at this point we should make up. We thank God for social media. I mean, I'm sure that enough information will be out there. So if this ever any other Ponzi scheme ever comes up again anytime in the future, Nigerians will be well informed and educated on stuff like this. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.
To the ICT consultant. We talked extensively on the MMM Ponzi scheme. If you're a partaker, if you donated money in any way, fingers crossed, January 15th, we'll hope for the best. We'll take a quick break and when we come back.
Okay, the end of the show.
Oh yeah, we're wrapping up at this point.
All right, join us
All
again
good
tomorrow
things must
for
come to
Open
an
Day.
end.
Yes,
Yes.
sure. Open Day
See you
tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you.